All right. First of all, we appreciate our fans and the love they have for the Razorbacks. Our guys continue to play hard and will continue to give great effort. After watching the film, I felt that after the game, and after watching the film, these guys are playing extremely hard, and they'll continue to do that. Auburn's a very good football team, and when you give them a short field to begin the game, it's hard to overcome. 4 turnovers, a missed field goal opportunity. Those are hard to overcome. But I will say this: our guys never quit. When we did settle in midway in the first quarter, we played extremely well as a defensive unit, only giving up 3 points in over 30-plus minutes. We dominated the time of possession from the second and the third quarter. But we struggled to move the ball consistently, but we also knew that from a defensive front standpoint that they had was as good as we've seen, that we were going to have to be creative. We were going to have to get the ball out on the edge, and we attempted to do that several times. We also had to be a little bit more creative in some of their screen game that was effective and allowed us to move the ball and control some of the clock. But credit their defensive unit and their plan. They did not pressure us as much as we thought they would, or as much as they did a year ago, but they were getting pressure with 4 and playing coverage behind it. And we've got to find a way to score. We had to throw the ball over 40 times, or right at 40 times, and it's hard to do that. The score dictated a lot of that. We try to pride ourselves on being as balanced as possible, but the bottom line is we just got to get better. And we've got another great opportunity this week. #1 team in the country, one of the winningest programs in the history of college football. We look forward to the challenge, and our guys will be prepared and they'll be ready. And with that, I'll open up.
Raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you for questions. Go ahead, Trey. Coach, last week when you had the quarterback battle to see who would start, did Ben actually win the job during the week, or was it just the need for a change after the way the Kentucky game went? And what's the situation this week?
Well, first of all, with the situation this week, Ben got banged up a little bit this past week, and we'll see how things are on Tuesday with him. They'll both be out there. We'll just go from there. As far as the process through the course of the week, at the end of the week, it was we knew that we had to felt that we had a little bit more confident in the fact that getting us into the right checks. With their pressures. I think you saw that. We actually scored on one of the checks, and the other one we hit Rakeem right down the middle. And so we just felt like they had just a better grasp of it, and so that was the final decision in it.
Just with Tua out, just what do you look for from Alabama offensively and their backup quarterback starting? Well,
first of all, there's not many deficiencies on that football team. And when you look at Mac Jones came in the other night, and they'll do a great job of preparing a plan for him to what he can execute and execute at a high level. They've got a great supporting cast around him. Our wide receiver core that you can look all you want. There's not many deficiencies. The speed that they have, and then obviously being able to run the ball with Harris is very effective. So, Mac's they'll have a plan for him. But as far as deficiencies and looking, you're a quarterback at Alabama and in a program of that caliber, you're a really good football player. But he was playing behind a really good one too. So.
Okay, Ben had his left shoulder iced, or I don't know, he got in a hunchback or something. But I guess is it his shoulder? And can you update us on, I guess, Colton and Mateo and Austin, what their status is?
Yeah, Mateo will be back. He's fine. Colton will reevaluate again today, as well as Ben, with his shoulder. And so I anticipate those guys being out there at practice, but we'll see. It's his back, so we'll see on that.
Yeah, the game plan you had offensively for Alabama last year, when you moved the ball, you scored points on them. Do you have to can you rely on that some? Do you have to tweak a little, expecting them to make changes? How does that chess game work out?
Well, I mean, again, we've got to continue to try to be as creative as we can in moving the football and attacking the weaknesses if there is any. We hadn't found too many. They are very, very talented, very young defensively, starting 4 true freshmen up front, 2 backers and 2 D linemen. Is sound in the secondary. They're very experienced, and that's the best part of their football. Their defensive unit is if there is such. I mean, they stand out, very experienced, but they've got a great core on that side of the ball. We've got to do a good job of not turning the ball over and getting in some type of consistency of running and throwing the ball and being as balanced as we can.
Who earned playing time from you got some younger guys in the game. Who asserted themselves? Who earned themselves more time this year?
And you in regards to just yeah, I mean we tried and have been trying to get more guys on the field and playing from a defensive unit, as much as we possibly can, and so I think we played a lot of guys, especially in the first half last week. We knew that it was going to be a very physical football game, especially coming off the week before playing 50-something run plays, and we played another 50-something run plays this past Saturday. So these guys have played a lot of physical football. It's going to be a physical game this Saturday. So we've tried to rotate some guys in, and from Day to Malik, Eric Gregory got in, had an opportunity to see some playing time, and again we'll continue to bring those guys along. We'd like to redshirt those that aren't going to get significant playing time on both sides of the ball. We don't want to burn a red shirt just for a guy for special teams, if we can avoid it.
I guess Capps also got hurt. Kind of what's his status? And how did the backups play, Cunningham and Adcock, when they had to play?
Myron played better, was a little bit more consistent at left tackle. So it was good to see him. Kirby Adcock got in when Capps went down, and it was I believe he's in concussion protocol right now. That's where he's at. Got in, and obviously when you're going against what he was lined up against, it was a pretty rough skidding in there. But he did a good job, and considering all the circumstances that was coming at him.
Chad, I know you're facing some tough defensive fronts, but how much are the struggles on offense correlated to the offensive line, just with so many injuries you've had with Noah Gatlin, Capps in and out, Colton in and out, young overall, light, I guess, overall for an offensive line? How much of it goes back to just protection? Well,
I mean, I think when you look at, especially you look at last week, first of all, Ricky Stromberg played every snap, and that's a freshman that's getting some quality reps. And going against what he went through or went against, and so youth has got a lot to do with some things, but it's not an excuse. I'm not here to make excuses. We've got to get better. We got to get more consistent, and I know that's it's kind of been the theme, but it is that's what it is, and we want to strive ourselves in being able to be a balanced run pass football team as much as we can, and it's on us to get better. That's really what it is. It's not about making excuses, and I don't care if we're playing 11 freshmen or 11 seniors. It really doesn't matter at this point. It's about guys getting out there and executing and making plays, and coaches putting them in positions to make those plays.
Chad, I had a couple. I guess Alabama's notes say they've won 88 straight against unranked teams, I should say. Mm-hmm. I mean, how impressive is that they just never seem to slip up or overlook anybody? They always take care of business, so to speak.
Well, it's excuse me, it's hard to win, period. And when regardless who you're playing, and to see that the streak that they've had, and they get everybody's best each week. And when you're ranked that high and have been that good for so long, everybody comes in bringing their best. And to see them, week in and week out continue to to play at a high level and win, it is impressive. It's something that we strive to have our program at some point in time, as all programs across the country. That they pretty much have been the measuring block for everyone.
And then I don't know if some of these guys are redshirt. They're going to say they're starting 8 freshmen. How impressive is that? The number 1 ranked team. I guess that speaks to their recruiting. And
Yeah. I mean, we're playing a lot of freshmen, and I think we're the second most in the country in playing freshmen, and I think it's right behind Alabama. And so it is it's impressive to watch these guys play. I think Christian Harris, the freshman linebacker, he's dynamic now. He's all over the field, and you look at those guys, and DJ Dale, another one, D lineman up front that's very physical. But it's impressive to watch Shane Lee as well, another freshman. So they've definitely are young but they're playing extremely well.
You had said after the game that it wouldn't have been fair to put any of those younger guys in at quarterback. What kind of situation would you like to put them in, and especially a guy like John Steven, who's already used his red shirt?
Yeah. No, I wanted to put them in a situation like that that late in the game. I just didn't. It wasn't the time to do that. I think there is a time to do that. I think it's putting a package together. We've got to be effective in running the football from the quarterback position, and that's every part of our offense. When we've excelled at a very high level, our quarterback has been a big part of our running game, and so we've got to do a good job of developing the packages to make that happen. We worked a little bit with Traylon Burks last week or the last couple of weeks, and trying to create some type of run from the quarterback position, and we'll continue to work that. So,
Coach, I saw Gabe Richardson was wearing 5 for Dorian. Is that permanent? And if so, what went into that decision?
And obviously with Dorian, going down early in the year that he did, and what a leader, an impact player for us on the defensive side of the ball. At that defensive end rush position was pretty, it was dynamic to lose a guy like that. And Gabe in the same position, meeting room, and the friendship that they have. Gabe just came to me and asked me, could he wear it for this week or last week, and I said absolutely. So
Brady, they said couldn't he be interviewed after the game because he got hit in the throat. Is he okay as far as this week?
Yeah, he was last night. I mean, he just he's having a hard time talking a little bit, but he'll be fine.
They say that Alabama's added an extra component the last few years, that their offense has really turned dynamic. What do you see just structurally and personnel-wise from their offense they've always had the defense, and now it seems like they've added another component?
In the past, when you've looked at a traditional, or I say traditional, when you've looked at an Alabama team of years past, you see the bigger, the 6'3" plus wide receivers. One of the things that I've noticed, just of observing them over the last 6-7 years, and just here as of recent, that it's gone more toward the speed aspect at wide receiver, to be able to catch the slant and be able to outrun you. And all these guys from Smith to Judy to Ruggs, I mean, all these guys have elite speed and quickness and just great ball skills. So that's one thing that's really stood out to me.
I guess what reviewing the film, Knox and Burks both had pretty incredible looking catches. Watching those on tape, what'd you think of those, and maybe what does that speak to those guys' skill sets?
Well, we also had some drops along the way too, but these guys have done a great job of making some incredible catches in space. The one that Traylon Burks had, the one behind him that was basically tipped it and brought it back in front of him, and the concentration of him taking it to the ground was impressive. We've seen him make incredible catches in camp, and that was definitely one that was one that you had to look back and see how you do that, But and then with Trey Knox being able to contort his body in so many different directions and be able to catch a football, and again, it just shows you that what their future lies. They're going to have an incredible career, we've got to continue to grow those guys and get them the ball more.
You were talking to Colt before the season. He went through a lot of pain last year, and maybe nobody except him and you guys really realized how much bad that was. And then I think he's really looking forward to this year. Now he's had the concussions in the back, and I guess he's got a foot he's dealing with. How tough is that for a guy in his senior year to just have all these ailments he's trying to overcome? How tough is that for you guys?
Well, it hurts you from a depth standpoint, but a young man that's put in a lot of time and energy in this program, and to just not be able to be as healthy and be as consistent as he wants to be. And we've tried to limit him as much as we could in practice and still get his work in to prolong his season as much as we could. We knew he was dealing with some pain, but a guy that works extremely hard, loves the Razorbacks, and wants to play and wants to contribute. And so I know he's frustrated, but we'll continue to reevaluate him.
With Jordan Jones, it seemed like a couple of weeks ago he was running around getting close to coming back. Did he have a setback, and is he maybe a guy that could take a medical this year? Or?
Well, I mean, he's already redshirted, so that's that you don't get those until the very end, and you have to. There's a process that goes through to get that, and there's no guarantees that happens. He was out there running and trying to. We thought we would have him back a couple of weeks ago, and it just hasn't worked out to that point. So.
What are the limitations with each quarterback and what you're trying to do offensively, and how much different do you have to call a game when one's in compared to the other right now, or is there any difference?
Well, I mean, again, you at that position, you look for consistency, and I think we all know we've seen Nick and what Nick brings to the table. He's got the size and he's got the arm strength and the quick release. The one thing that go back to the start of camp and the reason why Ben won the job, it was just a familiarity with the offense and understanding exactly what was asked of him and get us into the right checks that we need to. Pass protection is a big deal in this offense, and being able to get your protection aligned right according to the looks. And so, that was the one thing that took Ben over the top when we named a starter to start the year out with. But, I think, when you look at it, I thought that Ben threw some really good balls the other night. I thought that he was very tough. He played with grit. He plays with a lot of confidence. And so, you call a game different with each one of them in there. At this stage, we're just trying to be as consistent as we can and be able to run the football and get our RPOs working like we want them to get to. So.
Any more questions for Coach? Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you.